Welcome to Building Wealth Today TV. Today, we are taking a look at 25 hidden collectibles worth serious money. When most people think about collectibles, they think about items that were created to be collected: trading cards, luxury watches, or limited edition art. But history tells a different story. The most valuable collectibles were often everyday objects, employee-only tools, or items meant to be discarded. What turns these objects into wealth is survival, historical context, and cultural meaning. Today, we are walking through 25 overlooked collectibles that prove value is often hiding in plain sight. 1. Old sheet music. Long before radio, vinyl records, or streaming services beamed music into our lives, these printed pages were the primary way songs were shared and experienced. From the late 1800s through the early 1940s, the piano was the heart of the American home, and sheet music was its lifeblood. It was the software for the home's entertainment hardware, a physical set of instructions that allowed music to travel from the bustling publishing houses of New York's Tin Pan Alley to parlors and living rooms across the country. Today, collectors cherish this sheet music not just for its melodies, but as a tangible connection to our cultural past. These pages document the birth of American popular music, capturing the nation's hopes, fears, and fads in real time. They introduced Broadway show tunes, patriotic anthems, the revolutionary rhythms of ragtime, and the improvisational spirit of early jazz directly into homes. Many iconic songs we now know from scratchy recordings first existed only on paper. Their popularity built one living room performance at a time. Beyond the music itself, the cover art is a major draw. Particularly sought after are first printings of landmark compositions, works by pioneering African-American composers like Scott Joplin or W.C. Handy, and sheets tied to historic events or Broadway premieres, as they represent a direct, unfiltered snapshot of a pivotal moment in time. So, what should you look for when examining a piece of old sheet music? The key details are often found in the fine print. First, check the bottom of the first page of music for the publisher's imprint and the copyright year. This is your primary tool for dating the piece. Next, look for a plate number, a small serial number also typically found at the bottom of the page, which can help identify the specific printing. First editions are the most desirable. A key indicator of a first edition is when the copyright date on the inside matches the date of the song's debut, and there are no advertisements for later, more popular songs by the same composer on the back cover. Authenticating sheet music primarily involves confirming it's a first printing. Condition is critical. The most common and damaging flaw is a spine split, where the fold has completely given way. This is very difficult to repair without impacting value. For preservation, store your sheet music flat, away from direct sunlight, in acid-free archival sleeves or folders to prevent further deterioration. The market for old sheet music is quite broad. While common, attractive pieces from the era can be found for $25 to $100, rare and historically significant items can fetch much more. For instance, a first-run sheet for a landmark Broadway show in excellent condition can sell in the range of $300 to $1,500. And a truly scarce first edition by a major composer like George Gershwin or a key figure in early jazz could command several thousands. 2. Personal diaries and journals represent some of the most honest historical records ever created. These writings capture daily life without hindsight, documenting wars, migration, economic hardship, illness, and family dynamics exactly as they happened. Diaries from non-famous individuals are especially valuable because they preserve voices often excluded from official history. Multi-year diaries with detailed entries and consistent handwriting are the most sought after. Selling prices today range from $75 to $2,500. 3. Antique hand fans, once symbols of elegance, wealth, and social communication. During the 18th and 19th centuries, fans were crafted from silk, paper, carved wood, bone, and ivory. Many were hand-painted to commemorate royal events, exhibitions, or theatrical performances. Because fans were fragile and heavily used, survival is rare, driving collector demand today. Selling prices today range from $100 to $2,000. 4. Defunct restaurant menus and uniforms, which capture snapshots of regional food culture and social behavior. Menus preserve pricing, branding, and tastes of their era, while uniforms are especially rare because they were never sold and were typically worn until destroyed. Collectors value early menus, short-lived chains, and complete uniforms. Selling prices today range from $150 to $3,500. 5. Azuline, the Ultimate Michael Jordan Collection Book. A limited edition number 148 of 1000, a luxury collectible that sits at the intersection of sports history and fine art publishing. Azuline is known for producing museum-quality books designed to be displayed as objects, not simply read. This edition was created to document the legacy of Michael Jordan, whose influence extends beyond basketball into global culture, branding, and business. The oversized volume features high-end photography, archival material, and career milestones, all produced in strictly limited quantity. Only 1,000 copies exist worldwide, each individually numbered, making scarcity permanent. Collectors value low edition numbers, pristine condition, and original packaging. Because Azuline does not reprint these editions, and Jordan's cultural relevance continues to grow, demand consistently exceeds supply. Recent secondary market sales for complete examples have reached several $1,000s, with higher prices for low-numbered, well-preserved copies. This is not just a book, it is a numbered cultural artifact. 6. Early internet service provider promotional kits, which mark the physical beginning of the digital age. Before wireless internet, online access arrived by mail in boxes containing software disks, manuals, and trial cards. Most kits were opened and discarded, making sealed examples rare. Selling prices today range from $150 to $3,000. 7. Vintage mall store signage, once central to American consumer culture. These signs were professionally manufactured and never intended for resale. When malls declined, most signage was destroyed, making surviving examples highly desirable. Selling prices today range from $500 to $8,000. 8. Defunct sports league merchandise created by leagues that existed only briefly. Short-lived leagues left behind limited apparel and equipment, especially player-issued items that are now extremely scarce. Selling prices today range from $300 to $6,000. 9. Vintage office lobby signage reflecting mid-20th century corporate permanence. These signs were custom designed using metal, glass, and industrial typography. Rebranding efforts led to widespread destruction. Selling prices today range from $500 to $10,000. 10. Beanie Babies. One of the most misunderstood collectibles. While most are common, early generation tags, manufacturing errors, limited releases, and pristine condition separate valuable examples from worthless ones. Selling prices today range from $100 to $5,000. 11. Vintage lottery scratch-off tickets, objects that were never meant to last beyond a single moment. Scratch-off tickets were introduced by state-run lottery programs as fast, disposable revenue tools. Survival was never part of the design. Unplayed tickets are rare because unsold games were required to be destroyed. Surviving examples often escaped by accident, not intention. Collectors value early state issues, unplayed condition, unique artwork, and intact ticket sheets. A recent sale reached $2,000 to $3,000, depending on age, condition, and state of origin. 12. PCS exclusive. Krang statue from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, representing modern licensed collectibles as fine art. Once sold out, PCS exclusives are never reproduced. A recent sale reached $1,399. 13. Lava Lamp Meow Motion Kitty Lamp, a blend of novelty design and nostalgia. Novelty lamps were rarely preserved, making intact, discontinued designs increasingly collectible. A recent sale reached $115. 14. Gustav Becker Cathedral Chime Clock, built as a functional heirloom. German precision engineering and architectural design sustain long-term collector interest. A recent sale reached $434. 15. Montana Knife Company Redacted Knife, a modern collectible driven by limited production. American craftsmanship and sellout releases create immediate demand. A recent sale reached $450. 16. Kiss Ace Frehley Rock Icon Statue. Stapp Reserve rock music as fine art. Handcast, numbered statues are permanently discontinued once sold out. A recent sale reached $455. 17. John Wayne cast and crew coffee mugs privately gifted and never sold. These represent authentic Hollywood artifacts with direct provenance. A recent sale reached $5,940. 18. Theo Fabergé St. Petersburg Egg, a modern heir to one of the most elite traditions in decorative art. The name Fabergé instantly conjures images of unimaginable opulence, a legacy born in Imperial Russia under the patronage of the Romanov court. Beginning in 1885 with Tsar Alexander III, the House of Fabergé, led by the legendary Peter Carl Fabergé, crafted 50 exquisite jeweled eggs for the royal family. These were not mere decorations. They were deeply personal Easter gifts, symbols of ceremony, power, and the pinnacle of master craftsmanship. Each one was a unique marvel of engineering and artistry, designed to hold a secret, a concealed surprise that would delight the Tsarina. Then, in the latter half of the 20th century, the tradition was reborn. Theo Fabergé, the grandson of Peter Carl, established his own independent company, the St. Petersburg Collection, to create new masterpieces in the spirit of his forebear. He was the last Fabergé to have been born in Russia, and he dedicated his life to honoring the family's artistic principles, unlike the mass-marketed items that sometimes use the Fabergé name. Owning a Theo Fabergé egg is owning a piece of a revived artistic dynasty. When evaluating a Theo Fabergé egg, several key identifiers are non-negotiable. First and foremost is the edition number. These are not open-ended productions. Look for a number engraved on the base, such as 25,500, indicating it is the 25th piece in a limited run of 500. Lower edition numbers are often more desirable. Next, look for Theo Fabergé's personal signature, which should also be engraved on the piece. The materials are paramount. These eggs are crafted from sterling silver or are heavily gold-plated and feature guilloche enamel, a complex technique of engraving a pattern into the metal before covering it with translucent enamel. The surprise inside is also a critical component, whether it's a miniature clock, a jeweled pendant, or a tiny, intricate sculpture. For authentication, the original certificate of authenticity is your most powerful tool. This document, signed by Theo Fabergé himself, confirms the egg's name, its materials, and its specific number within the limited edition. The original presentation case, often a velvet-lined and custom-fitted box, is also a crucial part of a complete collection and helps verify its legitimacy. Condition is everything with these delicate objects. The most common issues are damage to the fragile enamel work, such as chips, cracks, or scratches. Tarnish on the silver or gold plating is also a concern, though it can often be professionally cleaned. For preservation, these pieces should never be handled with bare hands, as skin oils can damage the fine metal and enamel surfaces over time. Always use soft cotton or microfiber gloves. Store the egg in its original presentation case, away from direct sunlight and extreme fluctuations in temperature or humidity, which can cause the materials to expand and contract, potentially leading to cracks. Theo Fabergé's limited edition eggs are highly sought after. A recent sale for the St. Petersburg egg, complete with its documentation and case, reached $2,950. 19. Weta Workshop Rivendell statue. Lord of the Rings, created by the same artisans who built the film miniatures. Environment pieces are far rarer than character statues. A recent sale reached $2,397. 20. Starbucks Glass Beanie. Bearista Bear Cup, the first Starbucks bear released in the United States. Limited distribution created instant scarcity. A modern collectible that blends brand history, intentional scarcity, and global fan culture. Starbucks has a long tradition of collectible merchandise dating back to the 1990s, when seasonal mugs, City Series cups, and limited tumblers became an unexpected driver of customer loyalty. The Bearista Bear holds special significance in Starbucks history. Bearista Bears were originally introduced as plush mascots, often dressed in regional or seasonal outfits, and were released primarily in international markets such as Asia and Europe. For many years, these bears were largely unavailable in the United States, making them especially desirable among American collectors. What makes the Glass Beanie Bearista Bear Cup historically important is that it represents one of the first major Starbucks bear-themed drinkware releases in the United States, marking a shift in how the company leveraged its mascot across product categories. Instead of a plush toy, the bear design was integrated directly into functional drinkware, blending novelty with everyday use. A recent sale reached $2,500. 21. Garbage Pail Kids and Major League Baseball. Sealed Box, a modern crossover collectible that merges parody culture with professional sports. Garbage Pail Kids emerged in the mid-1980s as satirical trading cards and later returned through limited nostalgia releases. Sealed boxes preserve original scarcity and drive long-term value. A recent sale reached $2,499. 22. 9-carat gold pill or snuff box, a compact personal object that on refinement, wealth, and daily practicality. British goldsmiths produced solid gold boxes stamped with hallmarks identifying maker, purity, and year, built-in authentication that collectors prize. A recent sale reached $2,153. 23. Disney Haunted Mansion pin collection tied to one of Disney's most beloved attractions. Early and complete sets are increasingly difficult to assemble. A recent sale reached $1,499. 24. Virgil Ross signed Bugs Bunny animation cell representing original hand-painted film art. Signed examples elevate these pieces into fine art. A recent sale reached $1,256. Finally, 25. RMS Lusitania Biscuit Tin. The RMS Lusitania was launched in the early 1900s as one of the fastest and most luxurious passenger ships in the world. Operated by the Cunard Line, Lusitania symbolized the height of transatlantic travel, catering to wealthy passengers, dignitaries, and immigrants crossing between Europe and the United States. Onboard items such as biscuit tins, menus, china, and branded goods were sold or distributed to passengers as part of the luxury experience. These objects were never intended to be preserved as collectibles. They were practical travel items, often used during the voyage and discarded afterward. As a result, survival rates for original onboard merchandise are extremely low. A recent sale reached $1,080. As we've seen, the most valuable collectibles were rarely obvious when they were first created. They weren't designed for posterity. They were designed for a purpose, to be used, worn, read, or simply thrown away. Their value today comes from a powerful combination of three factors: survival, context, and meaning. So, how do you begin your own journey into finding these hidden gems? It starts not with a treasure map, but with diligent research. Your first and most critical rule is this: always research recent sold prices, not asking prices. An asking price is just a wish. A sold price is a fact. It is concrete proof of what the market is willing to pay right now. Platforms like eBay are invaluable for this. Don't just search for an item. Use the advanced search filters and check the box for sold listings. This simple click will cut through the noise of speculative sellers and show you the reality of the marketplace. Pay close attention to the dates of these sales, as values can change quickly. Analyze the listings to understand why one item sold for $100 while a seemingly identical one sold for $1,000. Was it the condition, the completeness, the quality of the photographs and description? This data is your education. For higher-end items, like the Theo Fabergé egg or a signed animation cell, your search should expand beyond general marketplaces. Explore specialty auction houses that focus on specific categories, such as entertainment memorabilia, historical documents, or fine art. Houses like Heritage Auctions, Christie's, or Sotheby's publish their past auction results, creating an extensive database of verified sales. Also, immerse yourself in dealer marketplaces and dedicated collector forums. These online communities are where experts gather. By listening to their discussions, you'll learn the nuances of authentication, the importance of provenance, and the subtle details that define a top-tier piece. In these circles, condition and history aren't just bullet points, they are everything. Remember that documentation is a force multiplier for value. The story behind an item is often as valuable as the item itself. This means taking high-quality, well-lit photographs from every angle, capturing any signatures, hallmarks, or flaws. Preserve any and all accompanying materials: the original box, the instruction manual, the certificate of authenticity, the sales receipt. These pieces prove its history. If you know the item's story, who owned it, where it came from, how it was acquired, write it down. This narrative, or provenance, can dramatically increase what a serious collector is willing to pay. Proper storage is part of this preservation. Use acid-free materials, keep items out of direct sunlight, and control for humidity. You are not just an owner. You are a custodian for a piece of history. The world of collectibles is vast and ever-changing, and this journey is just the beginning. For deeper guidance on identifying, pricing, and selling your finds, along with detailed guides on the items we covered today and many more, we invite you to visit our official website at buildingwealthtodaytv.com. We hope this episode has changed how you see the everyday objects around you, the forgotten things in the attic, the curiosities at the flea market, the relics of a time gone by. If you're ready to start seeing the world through the eyes of a collector, subscribe to Building Wealth Today TV for more deep dives into hidden assets, and let us know you're part of the community by commenting below. Thank you for watching.